the 96th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the 4th, but not last, week of June 2012. This episode is titled Over and Out. CloudFocus Week is sponsored by Arkus, your cloud computing experts. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me for the 96th time in a row, consistent as the man is Justin. Justin, how are you doing?
If I'm nothing, I am consistent.
You are nothing, if not consistent.
Thank you.
All right, we got a quick agenda today. It's a time crunch in our busy lives. I almost didn't make it to the podcasting studio today. Let's just say on the first heat wave of the summer, the thing not to do is lose your AC unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the thing
Nah.
to do. Not the thing to do.
No. And don't have the thermostat pegged to warm.
It in the office next door to you.
No.
Don't do that either. Yeah, we're having heating issues.
Very much so.
All right. So, let's get into it. First up is blog.arkusinc.com, which is a new blog post by the author or blogger who shall remain nameless. I know we've named him, but it's fun to keep saying that we haven't named him.
I don't even think we've named him. Named him. Podcast listeners have come up to us at Dreamforce and said, oh, is this the nameless one?
Yes.
And then he's got his name tag on.
And then they know him.
And then they know who he is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he wrote a blog post.
And if you're smart, and you see, I think we attribute our blog posts on Twitter to the person who wrote it.
Oh, that's true.
And if you're reading the blog post, at the very bottom, he links to his Twitter account.
So basically, you should be able to figure this out. But it's a mystery to everybody else. So that's why you have to go to blog.arkusinc.com.
For the non-adventurous ones.
And that's why you have to follow us at twitter.com/arkusinc. So there you go. I just put those out. Anyway, it's called 3 iPod Apps That Make Life Easier. I'm not even going to mention them. You know why?
They're not worth mentioning. Have we mentioned them all? I think we've mentioned all of these.
They've all been picks of ours.
They've all been picks.
He's basically doing the 3
recap picks.
Speaking of which, so we're not going to mention that. We'll move on. Speaking of which, we still have to figure out a way to do our Sweet 16.
Our picks, Sweet 16.
Yeah, so I started a Google Doc for us.
Oh, you did?
We're doing a little podcasting thing on. So I started a Google Doc for us. We have to figure out. Well, don't try to go look for it now.
Well, I'm gonna.
But anyway, it's going to start to put in all of our picks, and then from there we'll have we'll figure out the Sweet 16. We'll vote on them. I was thinking maybe there's some way we can involve our listeners in that process.
Okay.
I don't know how.
We have to go through, and because we have 90 after this 6 times 2. I mean, that's almost 200
plus extras because I've got doubles, so it's over 200. I think we should bring it down to like 16 or 20 or something, and then
Sweet 16.
Then maybe just do some sort of way of having people vote on it. But anyway, so let's move on. So that'll be interesting.
Go look at the 3 that
we've picked before.
That we've picked before, but he gives a little color too, and links to go download them.
There you go. Go download them now.
All right.
So if you're in the buying mood, you should keep buying things. Salesforce cannot be stopped at this point. They have bought yet another. I think they're actually doing this just because someone put out an infogram about all the places that them and Arkus bought, like on one side of what Salesforce bought.
I saw this infographic.
Yeah, infographic.
They were being outspent.
Yeah, which I thought was funny, and but I think they bought this just for that. Clearly what's happening in mergers is they have lots in the pipeline, and some are just hitting at different times. Anyway, they just bought, this week, corporate perk software, ChoicePass.
Yes.
So to me, this is, well, explain, do you know what ChoicePass is? Did you read up on it a little bit?
I get the idea behind it. I looked at something, not ChoicePass, but something like ChoicePass that integrated with Salesforce in a past life, where we were trying to incentivize people to utilize Salesforce and get their sales data into Salesforce. So we would incentivize them using these like built-in tools that you would accumulate points based on criteria, and then it was kind of like thank you points or rewards points.
Right.
And once you built them up, you can then spend them on things.
Right.
Now, the company itself that I worked at, you'd have to sort of buy all those points, and then you're like allocating these things. I mean, it's not like dollar for dollar, but it was like that, where you close a certain number of opportunities, you get a bunch of points. You have certain amounts, you get a bunch of points, and then you can. It was all within Salesforce and all done like that's how you accumulated them via doing things that the different scenarios were set up by an admin. We didn't end up using it because it ended up being a little too expensive, but I feel like this is the same idea.
Yeah.
Similar, right?
Yeah.
hey, do some stuff. We recognize you for doing stuff. We give you things for doing stuff.
I mean, this just seems to me it's a perfect add-in to the Ripple. It's a ripple effect.
It is.
Because Ripple has the ability to have a lot of thanking and goals. This is sort of the other side of that is sort of there's here's your goal, get to it, and then here's some perks for getting there. It reminds me actually of Cloud. Cloud has Cloud perks. That is not, by the way, in our podcasting studio, people are dying outside of the heat. So
well,
if you hear
apparently
screaming,
they're cheering for us. We're here in Times Square, so they're doing something outside where they're cheering very loudly.
It is the benefit of being in Times Square. You get to
There's
enjoy
always something being recorded live.
something craziness going outside. Anyway, so if you hear screaming in the background, and it sounds like 400 cheerleaders.
It's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Anyway, so Ripple is more like thanking and goals. This is more sales-oriented perks, like, again, getting to certain levels. I've seen other ways of doing this. I mean, there's the company that makes the product Hoopla, which is the sort of gamification, but it's more of a video gamification. So it turns your Salesforce data into basically Sports Center and I like it. Leaderboards and stuff. This is if you want a buzzword for the second half of 2012, I say gamification. I say put that on the buzzword board because it's something. So
Did
anyway,
you see that Ripple released? I think it was a week or two ago. Looks like a few weeks ago. The Salesforce Ripple app.
Oh no! It's finally
it's there.
Works.
It's on the App Exchange. You can install it.
Price?
Call us for pricing.
I hate that so much.
Say it louder.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hate that so much. By the way, I know companies that put out free products.
There's a free 30-day trial for up to 50 users.
All right.
Included with Ripple Premium and Phenomenal plans.
So
apparently they have a plan called the Phenomenal.
My guess is that Salesforce Ripple app does not work with Ripple Free.
Probably not.
All right.
No. Looks like you can just post Ripple thanks to Chatter.
Okay.
Like there's a Ripple thanks page embedded, and then you can do some stuff, and it posts on the person's Chatter feed.
Kind of feel like I'm just going to wait until Ripple is just inside of Salesforce.
Me too.
I feel like
it's going to wait.
This external one. I mean, I want to try it.
Well,
but
we did try it.
I want to try the one that's inside Salesforce. Like, see how that works.
Wow.
But yeah, yet another place to log into to another thing to thank people.
Thank you.
I think you could, if you're a smart developer, I feel like you could build this with Chatter and triggers and workflow or triggers and Chatter and topics. Like if I did at Justin thanks as a topic, couldn't I do some sort of like building of some sort of Ripple thanks goaling stuff?
Don't.
No?
Just don't.
I could call it Pipple.
No.
Kipple.
Sure.
I'm not going to go through the alphabet because I was
not explicit.
I was just doing one that was inappropriate. All right. So Choice Pass, it's a small one. I mean, was there a number on it? It was small.
I didn't see a number, and I know they're shutting down. So they're literally buying this thing and then shutting it down. So
right.
they've got plans for it or the people, but the plans are long term.
Right. They're not like Ripple where we're going to build another product.
It's not Ripple. It's not Do.
Right.
It's we're going to take these people and do something different with it.
Sounds like a foreshadowing to me. All right. Well, interesting news. And next on the agenda is
not so good news.
Silence.
No good news.
We've had some cloud outages last week or this week. Cloudages. Doesn't sound out cloudages. Amazon went down. Their AWS servers went down last week, or was it this week? I think it was last week.
Last week.
And then yesterday, big old Twitter took a face plant and was down.
That happens. Hasn't happened in a while, but it happens.
And it wasn't degradation. It was face plant. It was down, no access, nothing, site not showing up. So I'm going to tell the funny story, and then we get to the story.
Is there a fail whale involved?
No, that was it. Twitter.com was not responding.
Oh,
like you would shut off the website.
Not even a fail whale.
So I went to status.twitter.com, which they have smart enough, as some other companies that we love have smart enough, moved off of their infrastructure. So when their infrastructure goes down, they don't lose their status website. That was always funny about back in the day with Salesforce, that trust would go down with the rest of them. So I went there, and lo and behold, they were a little slow on getting their status updated. And there was only 3, and I was like, this it basically looks like a little Twitter page. It's got like these 3 little updates. Fine, we're experiencing problems 3 minutes ago. Great. I was like, oh, that's funny. And then under each little update is this button that says tweet it.
Sure.
And I was like, really?
Yeah.
So on your Twitter is down, you have a tweet button.
It's probably more there for the Twitter's backup alert.
But there is
the Twitter's back.
Tweet it. But Twitter's down. Tweet that.
Oh.
So I think the interesting take on this is not really that cloud services go down. Cloud services go down. And they take down a lot of sites. They take down sites. They take down... I mean, the Amazon took down Quora, took down Foursquare, took down... I mean, there's a lot of... Pinterest.
Heroku.
Pinterest. Really?
Really.
You say Pinterest?
That's how I say it. How do you say it? Pinterest? I say Pinterest.
Pinterest. Because it's interest.
That's how you say interest. Pinterest. I just put a P in front of it.
Pinterest.
You say interest?
Pinterest.
But when you say the word interest, you say interest?
Nipple?
No.
Oh, ripple. Oh, okay.
When you say the word interest, you say interest? I'm interested.
I'm interested.
You're interested, but
I'm Pinterested. I'm Pinterested.
I don't know.
Wow, this podcast just got awesome.
Well, for those 6 people still with us, they went down too.
They went down too. So it took down a lot of people. What I thought was interesting, some of the notes this morning on the Twitter outage yesterday was coming on heels of sort of Apple's big announcements last week that Twitter is built into the entire operating system. Built into iOS completely now, built into the Mac Mountain Lion, which is coming out in July. And I thought to myself, and actually the point of the article, the thing was, interesting that these cloud services are now part of people's operating systems, and they go down. So it's kind of like if you booted up your Word, but your Word went down, right? Because it's connected to a cloud service.
It's not even your Word, it's everyone's Word.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting way of looking at it. It's like the cloud is so integrated into our operating systems now that when they go down, it actually can affect you. You're not disconnected from it. It's not going to Facebook and like, oh, Facebook's down, I'll just go off and do other things. Although I was trying to tweet about DF12, and I was a little upset that I couldn't because it was down. But just an interesting take, like that the cloud is now integrated so well, or being more and more integrated into the operating system, that when it goes down, it can take you down with it, kind of.
It's in the computer.
It is in the computer. So anyway, the article goes on to talk about, it's on you have the one from thewere.com.
I do, don't I?
Interesting enough, and I think this is why we put this in the podcast, who else went down with Amazon? Who do we know? What famous
name?
Heroku. Yeah, Heroku. Well, that's interesting. It's like, oh, so you're on someone else's cloud.
I'm sure there's lots of other ones, like enterprise class cloud computing services and products that are sitting on Amazon that went down too.
Think so?
I can't imagine they didn't.
Yeah. So anyway, outages all around. You know, it happens. The guy posted on... The interesting in this one was it was called a cascading bug. So for those of you not in the software development, a cascading bug is something that exists, but then, you know, it's sort of not triggered. But when it gets triggered for some reason, it then has a cascading effect and starts to take down other things. So sometimes a bug it's like you go to hit a button and it gives you an error. That's a bug. Sometimes you have a bug that's in your software but doesn't really, it's sort of dormant, and it gets hit for some reason, and fine, it makes that error. That's sort of the Y2K issue, right? We didn't know about it until it sort of come around that issue. Cascading bugs it's a bug, it's in your system, it's not really working yet, it's not really doing anything, but when it gets triggered, it will then start to take out other services. So it just doesn't stop some feature. And this one, that's a big cascading bug. It's like a 100-pound bug because it took down the entire thing. Again, the whole point of being cloud and virtualization is that you don't have a single point of failure. You have multiple points of failure. Twitter.com should never go down completely. Like, completely. So anyway, interesting. It happens to the best of them. Yeah, Twitter pitter, it went down. All right, speaking of things that are always up, CloudFocus app picks of the week. I said to you before, and I'll say to you again now, I have so many, I think our pick show needs to be our 100th episode.
Well, you're going to have to give me a few.
No, I'm saying our 100th episode has to be
But like you're just gonna rattle off picks and I'm just gonna comment on them?
No, you're gonna have picks as well. You need to have 5 or 10 picks.
No, you have so many. You have like 20 just racked up.
I'm telling you, you need to have 5 or 10 picks for the 100th episode. That's in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 4 weeks.
Not doing that.
Yes, you are. The 100th episode, we're gonna do a pick show. I just made that happen.
Oh man.
All right. Well, use one of your great picks this week.
Well, I'm picking one that's super obvious, but I've never really used it before, and now that I'm really using it, I'm really enjoying it, which is do.com.
I feel like you picked this.
I have not. I've talked about it. I've played with it, but never really got a good way to use it.
A reason
really to use it. And
so what is do.com for everybody who's forgotten?
So it's a very, I feel it's very lightweight task manager / project manager that you can collaborate on different tasks with different people, add notes, add attachments, email in, etc. Assign them to people, it goes to their email. It's got a nice couple little features. It's got a good mobile app.
So like High-Rise.
What is that?
37 Signals High-Rise.
Okay, never used it.
You use it all the time.
I use Basecamp all the time.
Basecamp, sorry, High-Rise is the other one.
I think Basecamp's bigger, much bigger actually.
More features.
A lot more features. But Do is really simple.
Okay.
Like dumb simple, free. Sign up in like 3 seconds. You're in.
Log in with social profiles?
You can log in with your Google account, but I just created a new one because I had already had one with the Arkus Google account. So I just created a new one with my other Google account. And then you can just get started immediately. Start creating tasks. Start creating projects. Essentially, I created a project because I'm moving into a new apartment.
Yes,
and
you
there
are.
are lots of tasks, and I'm doing them with somebody. So I couldn't just put them in my own little task manager. They had to be places where we can collaborate on them together.
Right.
So I was like, let's just use Do. We were talking about it. It was like, you're responsible for this. I'm responsible for that. And it was like going back and forth. I'm like, wait, we haven't captured any of these things that we said that we're responsible for doing.
Years of training.
We have to put this somewhere.
Stuff,
we have to put this somewhere, and we both need access to it. So
a GTD Angel Disguise Wings.
I looked at a few Google Docs or Google Sheets templates.
Yep.
They just were like, yeah.
I mean, you could have just done a sheet and put people's names next to it.
Could have totally done that. But I was like, you know what? Let's just use Do.
Yeah, that's cool.
I logged in. Boom. Account created. Project created. Folders for tasks created. I can't remember what they actually call them. Like sections. And then you can drag and drop the tasks around.
Nice.
Really slick interface.
Nice.
Assign them. You see people's pictures. It's nice and easy. You can take notes on each individual task.
Like
back
it.
and forth comments.
Like it.
Attachments if you need them. We don't really need them. But we might because it's like, pick paint color. You can attach the 3 or 4 colors or screenshots.
Right.
Pick a wall unit. You can take the pictures from the website and throw them in there. So we were like working out how we were going to do it, and it only took like a half hour to sort of just figure it all out. Got it on my iPhone, got it on the web.
So I want to hear back after it, like
yes.
whether like in a couple weeks when you've actually moved in, well actually in a month or two, whenever you move in and the other person moves in too. So I think we got a month and a half left.
Probably got about a month.
I know way too much about you, but anywho, okay. So do.com, cool.
I had a use case for it, so now I'm using it.
All right, I have a pick.
I'm sure you do.
I'm going hardware this time. I have so many picks.
Oh, this is that thing you were telling me about. Did you buy it?
Why do you do this on the podcast?
Did you buy it?
Wait till I give you the pick before you bring in the thing.
I didn't say the name.
Well, I bought it. I'm turning around to grab it.
So
all right.
Go get it. I had to fill time while you're going to get this thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be.
So, here's the story. The story is, quickly, as things make noise, I got a new bag for my birthday, which was a week ago. And my old bag had a lot of inside pockets. My new bag has outside pockets, no inside pockets. And I'm kind of like, oh, well, what am I going to do with all my crud? Like, things little hookup things and things. So, I've been actually wanting to buy one of these for the longest time. This gave me the excuse. It's something called Grid It. I think it's, by a company called Cocoon. And it basically is and I'm holding it up for everybody to see. Can you see it? Can you see it at home?
I see it.
There are many different sizes, but basically it's a piece of fabric with some cardboard in it that then has a lot of rubber bands sort of running across it, and they're very sticky rubber bands, and they're crisscrossing in many different patterns, kind of like a mitt for holding a oven, an oven mitt. So there's like these crisscrossing patterns. And then what you do is you can put in your, you basically can stuff tons of stuff into it. So like it can hold a bunch of stuff. And it has a pocket on the back that you can put in more stuff if you even can't, like papers or whatever. So here's the way I love it, the reason I'm really excited about this. One, it's very self-contained and it kind of holds everything together. So when you pull it out or whatever, it's got everything on it. Two, it's very heavy because it's got a lot of stuff onto it.
Oh, yeah. Wow, yeah.
Well, it's got heavy things on it.
It does.
But two, here's my theory. When you travel, you need to have or when you go to a client site or when you go somewhere, you need to have a different set of things with you than when you just go every day, right? You basically need more stuff. You want more connectors, more power cords, more whatever. So I thought what if I got a couple of these, and this was my first one, and I basically made one, like the one that I can travel with, and the one that I kind of work day to day with, and then I can just easily swap them out. So like I'm going traveling, I put in my travel one that has all the stuff I need to travel with. I'm going to the office, maybe I don't even put it in because I don't need any of that stuff. I've got bricks and stuff at home. Anyway, it's a neat little product. I just got it 2 days ago.
How much was this?
I think they're all different sizes. That's the 10 by 12 or 9 by 12 size. That was like $14.95, something like that. I really like it. The one complaint I'll say that I'm a little bit is that if you take out all that crap, which please don't.
You can't get it back in the same way, can you?
No, that's not it. The problem is that the actual thing by itself has a little weight to it that I wish, when everything's about lightness in your bag, I wish the thing itself, like whatever cardboard's in the middle, or it should just be a little bit, or maybe it's all the rubber.
I think it's all the rubber, and there's like a plastic like a hard plastic thing in there. But it's pretty neat.
Yeah, and you can get them different sizes. You can get like half sizes, bigger sizes. Anyway.
I could use something like this.
Yeah, it's called Grit It, and go buy it. It's awesome.
Grit It and Bear It.
By a company called Cocoon. Check the show notes. Speaking of which, go to blog.arkusinc.com for all the CloudFocus show notes as we gear up towards our 100th episode. Only 4 more, so you only have 4 weeks to get ready. Remember to follow us on Twitter, if it's still up, at Arkus Inc. or Jason M. Atwood or Just Edelstein. We're in the Dreamforce portal. If you're going to Dreamforce, DF12, we're in the portal. Go in there. We're thinking about doing, or have we decided about doing the group? Doing a CloudFocus Weekly podcast group. So
I want to do that.
We're wanting to do that. We're on Facebook. We're on Google+, and always subscribe on iTunes or any of your podcast subscription services. And until next week, from the podcasting studio, Jake and Justin on CloudFocus Weekly, just changing it up for the reason. No reason at all. Enjoy those cloudy days.